Welcome back to Mid Morning Talk with myself, Maimoona Mabena, and we're continuing conversations that actually explore empowerment and celebrate women and actually hear their stories in terms of how they've come to be and how you can actually draw inspiration from that. And joining me currently is the founder of Girls on Bike, a platform that is creating space for women to experience freedom, independence, and belonging through cycling. Now, from her first-hand experience of cycling, she experienced freedom, confidence, and the joy of actually cycling. Karabo, good morning and or rather, good day, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, and how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. The sun is shining, so I'm good. That's all that I wanted, sunshine.
Lovely, lovely. Now, before we get to Girls on Bikes, I want to find out from you, what has this journey taught you about yourself as a leader?
It's very funny that I never thought of myself as a leader. I mean,
Mm,
I am a last born, and being a last born pretty much means that, like, you are the baby. So, being the baby and being a leader were never two things that I ever thought would ever come together. And
mm,
these are a lot of things that I then, learned about myself that, oh, I didn't know that I could be a leader. And this is something that I don't want to say, I want to actually say born to do, because it
yeah,
just
yeah.
happens so easily and so seamlessly that I ended up becoming a leader. And half of the time, I'm like, I can't believe people listen to me. So it's one of those things where it's just like, you listen to me? Really? Me? So it has been quite the journey and quite the trip to, becoming also of myself, and also
Mm,
understanding the power that I possess, and also just knowing how well that I do work with people. Like, I know I
mm.
talk a lot, I know I'm bubbly, I know I've got the personality, but I never really thought that it would yield or get me to a place where I'm actually leading a full community of women, and women that actually really do feel safe around me too.
Mm. And with that, what's the one thing that people might not expect about the person holding the founder title?
Oh, that I am just a girl. I really am. And I mean this in, the most, not even like the social media way, but in the way
Yeah.
that, like, I mean, I've got an older brother, and having an
Mm.
older brother means that I've been a little flower. And
Oh,
now that I'm looking after other flowers, it's like, oh, so I'm
oh,
the big
wow.
flower. So it has been, I am a girl. I also, get hurt. I also, I'm afraid of things. I'm afraid of falling. I'm afraid of, like, screaming and shouting. But I think the biggest part is that, yes, I am a girl, and being a girl, it has been quite the tricky thing in, making people understand that I also need to be treated with the same softness and the same kindness that I, would
Mm.
extend to the rest.
Hmm. And now we're sitting here with the founder. And for those who do not know, it was just a simple question from your brother saying, how do we get more girls on bicycles? Once you had mastered the paddling side of things, how did that one question now become such a beautiful movement?
Look, from my, like, life experience, I'm in comms, strategy, marketing, like, that is my world. And
Hmm, hmm,
this was the biggest task of my life personally. And I was just like, what do you mean? You want me to start, a whole community of women? And with that being said, that one question actually changed so many lives. It changed my life. It changed everybody's life around us. And I'd like to believe that it also changed the lives of, South African motorists that see us in our pink helmets. I say this
hmm,
because while we were riding the other weekend, I got an email, because I mean, I've got the mails on my phone. I got an email of one lady saying, hey, I just saw you girls riding in Saxon World with your pink helmets. I want to join. So things like that make me feel like, you know what? This community that has come from just a simple question has actually grown to become something bigger than what I would have imagined, bigger than anybody actually would have imagined. And I think
hmm,
I'm actually quite grateful that it has grown into becoming what it is, and taking the shape that it's taking and where it's actually going all by itself.
hmm, hmm. And now girls on bike. I mean, you could have thought of so many names. Princesses on bikes. You could have thought of so many names. Talk us through in terms of, starting this movement, if I can call it, and also naming it Girls on Bikes. Where were you at the time?
I mean, I was in my almost late 20s, like I mean, it was what,
Mhm.
27, 20, yeah, 27, 28. And I was going into my womanhood. And I think just also the simpleness of understanding that girls on bikes is in the literal sense. How do we get more girls onto bicycles? And how do
Mm,
we do that? Who is a girl? Who identifies? So there's so many things. And I think for me personally, in the naming convention, it was really getting the inner Karabo onto a bicycle. And I can only imagine what other inner, children or inner little girls would want to do and how they would feel being on a bicycle. And that's exactly it. It was really getting, the little girl in you on a bicycle that didn't have the chance to be on a bicycle. And in
mm,
her grown age of becoming a woman, she's now on a bicycle and she doesn't feel afraid. She doesn't feel, any shame. She doesn't feel embarrassed because she's now much older and she's doing something that she should have done when she was young. But where
mm.
at the time, and at that time, it was just really getting the little girl out of me onto a bicycle.
Amazing. And as the founder, what kind of transformation do you hope women actually experience through Girls on Bikes?
Oh, there is so much. And I know this may sound like a beauty pageant answer, but really and truly, when Susie said really taking up space, it actually means
Mhm,
exactly that. Taking up space, being on the road and understanding and knowing that you are allowed to be on the road just as much as a car is, just as much as a
mhm,
bucky is, just as much as anything is on the road. You are allowed to be there. And the other biggest part of transformation needs to be representation. That
mm,
as you are taking up space, you need to understand that there's many other little girls coming out after you who are looking at you to be like, oh my goodness, if she can do it, then I can do it too. And those are my two biggest, areas of transformation that I really do wish and hope would happen with women once they get onto bicycles.
mm. And with that, Garabo, there's a very scary reality of being a woman in South Africa
Mm,
that we should never
yes,
ever shy
yes,
away from. In terms
yes,
of when a woman thinks of hiking, the stories we hear in terms of a
yes.
woman was robbed, a woman was murdered, and you think of women who'd like to just take a jog early in the morning. There's those barriers that come. And I think looking at girls on bikes, what would you say were the biggest barriers that they faced coming into cycling?
Oh, I'm so glad that you brought it up because sometimes I'm very shy to speak about it because of, the climate that we are in. We don't want to rock the boat too much.
Mm,
And
mm,
I will easily say that it starts from the beginning. It starts with, period poverty, where you're on your monthlies as a woman. You can't want, you don't want to do anything. You don't want to get onto a bike. So
mm,
that's a barrier. The next thing is understanding that with your body and your body type, the clothes that you wear and how these clothes fit. And we know that, how gym gear sits on women. There's that
mm,
too, where it almost does, it's also seen as an invitation. And it's
mm,
not an invitation. I'm just wearing tights and a tight top. And, and that is really it because I need to do the sports. And
mm,
then comes the route. We were cycling in town, and it's not really the first time. And I think when we do go to town, we have to preface and say to the ladies that, what, we apologize in advance. We apologize if there's catcalling. We apologize if somebody, wants to step in front of you while you're riding your bicycle. We apologize that if a motorist, stops and stares. We apologize for, even the roads that we are on. We really do apologize for everything, but that is the barrier to entry, and the barrier to entry starting with actually being on the bicycle, to the clothes that we wear and how we show up, and to the places that we cycle in or to. That becomes the biggest barrier that we can't jump over it. We have to do it. And that's why every
yeah,
single time when we do start a ride, I do let the girls know that you are braver than anybody else. You are
mm,
stronger than anybody else. There is power in numbers, and you belong in every single space where you need to be and want to be. And that's really just how we have to go about it. And that you can do hard things. That is the biggest thing that we say. You can do hard things, and hard things is cycling on your monthlies, knowing
mm.
very well that you are uncomfortable, cycling to a place that you know very, very well that you don't want to be at, but just for the experience, and you can do hard things.
Mm. And Karabo, with that, if you were to address a room full of change makers, policy changes and just influential people regarding your your response right now, what would your message be? And I think this would speak to creating a safe space for women or just for people in general, and also bringing light to things where now, as you were busy narrating to saying, like, I prepare the women before the ride in terms of this might happen, this might happen, this might happen. It reminded me of me watching a series where a woman is a black woman in that is, telling their son to say, don't wear a hoodie, don't wear. And I'm like, they're parallels as much as it's not the same thing, but it's like that's where we are. So what would your message be to those the audience?
I think the biggest one would be to provide more safe spaces for women to be, and for women to want to explore their womanhood, because so many times we shy away from doing a lot of things because, one, we don't have friends or we don't have people to do things in. And once we do find the friends and the community, now the biggest hurdle is an actual safe space. So my biggest thing is a safe space, and the safe space does include cycle lanes, and cycle lanes that are not, you know, blocked by street vendors or blocked by an obstruction with a parked car, or, a cycle lane that has, broken glass. Like, just, can you give us space to be woman and to enjoy and to do hard things, to enjoy being on a bicycle, and allow us to explore and exploring. And, I want to move from, let's just say, from CBD all the way to Auckland Park to Emerentia. Allow me the space to do so and the freedom to do so, without feeling like if something were to happen, they're going to say it's my fault. So that would be my biggest thing. And, space does also mean infrastructure, which is our biggest, issue, which comes to cycling on the road, is that there's not enough cycle lanes, there's not enough space on the road, and just general education with motorists, and understanding that just as much as you're driving on the road, and just as much as a runner also wants to be on the road, a cyclist can also be on the road, and we can all share the same lane.
Now, Karabo, we're going to take an ad break. When I come back, I want to find out from you in terms of what it meant learning to cycle as an adult. And I'm hoping that will pour into the cup of a lady or a grown woman who feels like, I want to do the sports, but I'm too grown. It's not possible. My bones are stiff. Everything of mine is very fragile. If I fall, I break. It's over for me. So when we come back, hold that thought. When we come back, you're going to share all things learning how to cycle as an adult. And we get more into girls on bikes and other rides that are probably happening on the weekends. But listeners and viewers, do not move, because when we come back, we find out more in terms of how you can also be part of this beautiful community, Girls on Bikes.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Dad, these Frymax chips are so tasty.
Wow, that really takes me back. My dad bought me a Frymax chips every day after school. They were my favorite when I was your age as well. Quality is at the very heart of what we do, and that's why we ensure that every Frymax packet is filled with the beautiful goodness and flavor-packed taste that you've come to expect from us since 1982. Frymax, from generation to generation.
You South African, of course. You anxious about the future. We've got you covered. Build on your wealth portfolio with Randry Jewelers Gold Coin Exchange. Visit us at 151 Stephen Dlamini Road, Musgrave, Durban, or call us on 031 202 4700 for more information. Randry Jewelers Gold Coin Exchange, your passport to gold investment.
Africa. Give the gift of clean water with Africa Muslims Agency. With every water well or borehole you donate, your drop becomes a river, reconnecting communities to nourishment, education, dignity and empowerment. Sponsor a water well for 17,000 Rand in Africa or a borehole for 65,000 Rand in Afghanistan or Africa. Quench the thirst. Reconnect the soul with Africa Muslims Agency.
Are you banking with convenience, transparency, and flexibility? With Al Baraka Bank's transactional banking account, you can enjoy convenient everyday banking designed around your needs. Benefit from zero fees on point-of-sale transactions and manage your banking easily through Al Baraka's secure mobile banking app and internet banking platform. From everyday payments to managing your personal or business banking, Al Baraka makes banking simple, transparent, and convenient. Visit albaraka.co.za to learn more. Al Baraka, your partner bank. Al Baraka Bank Limited is an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
Welcome back, and you're still tuned in right here on Mid-Morning Talks with myself, Maimoona Mabena, and I am in conversation with the founder of Girls on Bikes, who believes in empowering women one bicycle at a time. Karabo, thank you so much for, staying with us. And as I said before the ad break, you started to cycle or learn how to cycle as an adult. Where did you get the courage to say, you know what, I'm going to sit on this, seat and literally learn how to cycle?
I didn't have the courage. There was no courage whatsoever. It wasn't anything I was interested in doing because I was like, what do you mean? I don't want to be on a bicycle. But I think being from like a sporty sort of background, before I used to run quite a lot. I used to do marathons, triathlons, all of those things. Like I used to run. And I think being on the bicycle was just another challenge that, I think I'll call it an athlete's brain. That just goes off in an athlete's brain where you're just like, okay, cool, I'm in it, let me do it. And I think that's what kind of made it quite easy for me to, get into and do. Because when I learned how to ride a bicycle, I was just like, oh my goodness, this is so scary. This is so hard. I am going to fall and I'm not in the mood to fall. And at the time when I was learning, I had braces and I was like, oh my God, imagine if I fall and then my teeth are going to break and then my mouth is going to pop open. So that was all that I could think of when I was on the bicycle, never the cars, never anything. So I think the courage really just did come from, okay, I need to do this because I need to solve this problem of how do I get girls on bikes. And I'm also a problem within this and I'm going to be the solution.
Amazing. And for a young Maimoona sitting behind a desk and is like, no, I am not about to do that. Karabo is very brave. She doesn't know it, but she's brave, but I'm not brave. How would you best encourage someone like myself to actually take on cycling? And also for someone who'd like to join Girls on Bikes, how do they actually even join? Because now it's like, I don't even know how to cycle. Probably if I were to be part of that community, I would be sitting on the sidelines.
No, nobody sits on the sidelines. Not on my watch. Nobody sits down. Nobody gets off the bicycle. I ran a strict regime. The girls know. Upper heel, we cycle. But my biggest encouragement really does start with here, more than your body. If you tell yourself that this is something that you want to do and something that you can do, oh, trust me, your body will go about in doing it. And that's where it all starts. And like I said previously, it really is doing hard things. You need to allow yourself to do hard things. And that is really just the start of it. And your body will follow and just allow you to do the thing. And so the nice thing about Girls on Bikes is that not only do we have just a community, we also have Cycle Power, which we teach people how to ride bicycles, because the biggest problems that we had to solve for was, yes, how do we get more girls onto bicycles, which was really creating a community of, girls, women, females, just to be on bicycles and just to take up the road in our pink helmets. And that was, the first thing when we were like, okay, cool, tick. But within that solution, we found another problem where we were like, wait, hang on. We've got girls that want to come cycle, but they don't know how to cycle. And now it's like, but how do we teach girls how to ride bicycles? Because then we had a small business problem of we will have our social rides and one person will be like, oh, I'm an avid cyclist, what. And then we'll have a person that says, oh, the last time I rode a bike, I was 3 years old. And then we've got another person that says, oh, I'm so scared, I don't know how to ride a bicycle. So how do we make the experience fair for everybody? And that's where Cycle Power then comes in. So if you feel like you need a refresher, you need to, learn how to ride a bicycle, you start at Cycle Power, then from Cycle Power, then you get to join us on a ride. And with our rides, oh my goodness, I'm bullied all the time in the DMs and in the comments that, hey, we need more rides. So for the month of August, unfortunately, we are sold out for this weekend because it's Women's Day. Yes, because it's Women's Day, I was about to say it's Women's Month. But because of Women's Month, we decided to have 3 more rides. So we've got a ride on the 22nd of August together as the 29th of August, which are all available on Quicket. So the reason why we also put it on Quicket is because most girlies don't have bicycles, and that's where you get to hire a bike. Because
nice.
I wouldn't want all 55 people to come and be like, oh, but I signed up first, I got here first, and nobody gets a bicycle. So that's how we then just make control of like how many bicycles we have to hire and how many bicycles we can actually basically give out and how many people we can have on our rides. So everything would just be on Quicket, or ladies can alternatively email us at hello@girls with a Z on bikes.org if they need any other information, or find us on TikTok, on Instagram.
And earlier on you mentioned that if I can call them a bystander, was so moved by seeing the girlies or the ladies cycle. And just after the ride, what has been some of the responses from the very ladies who take on the ride with Girls on Bikes?
Oh, when's the next one? What are we doing now? And I'm like, don't you want to go home and rest? And they're like, no, I don't want to go home and rest. So I now have to also, and the reason why we actually started certain places is that we give them an opportunity to sort of have brunch and mingle and, chitty chat together. So so the riding experience from outside of the routes is also just kind of making sure that we're in an area that once we're done riding, we can be like, okay, girlies, we're going to go sit and, eat brunch at such and such place and just spend some more time together. And I think that's where the community and the sisterhood comes in. Yes, we're on the bicycles, and sometimes there's not much conversation happening because you're fighting for your life up a steep. But majority of the time, it really is the, sitting down, eating, chatting, getting to know each other, speaking to each other. And that, funny enough, is where there's also business deals. So sometimes a girl will be like, I'll tell you of a story. There's a lady, her name is Tumi. She was building our website. And when we were sitting at brunch the one time after a ride in May, she's like, Karabo, can I quickly show you what we've done with the website and tell me if you like it? As we're sitting there, so we're going through, the whoop of this first round of the website. Another lady, Ingrid, was like, to me, you can do websites. And she was like, yes, well, that's why I'm showing Karabo, because I built the website. And she was like, I need you to build my website. And it was just like, oh, okay. So it's not even, and that's just one story of many other stories where we actually have girlies connect with each other and be like, hey, I need this and this and this. So there were a bunch of girlies that were like doctors, I think maybe in like their last year, and they're going into their internships. And it was just like, and there was another lady who's also a doctor, and she was like, no, man, take my contacts and you guys can maybe, once you're done with varsity or whatever and your internship and you need, I don't know what they call it. And they were just like, then you can come to, my surgery or to such and such hospital. I will help you out. I can get you people that can, put you in a spot. And it was very interesting to know that just from riding a bicycle, having brunch with each other, then the girlies get to exchange numbers, get to, mingle and actually do something outside of the bicycle, and basically making the circle bigger, making the sisterhood bubble grow even bigger and better.
Amazing. And my next question now is, how and why should more organizations really invest in women-led wellness and movements initiatives like Girls on Bikes?
So I'll first answer with the marketing brain. The marketing brain then says, because women are the biggest contributors to consumerism. Believe it or not, women actually know how to spend money, and they know where to spend money if you just give them something to do and something worthwhile, and they will do it. And I think in the other part is from the NPC and being, a girl, and I'd like to believe that, the girlies have made me the big sister. I would like to see, other little girls, get onto a bicycle and not feel like they need to have a specific bicycle or have a specific gear or kit or anything like that in order to do the thing. Because I'm one of many that have started riding a bicycle. I mean, we've got a few ladies. There were ladies that we were teaching that were like 47, in their 50s, one is 67. And it's just like the buck needs to stop with us, and they need to give other little girls the opportunity and the chance to ride bicycles. I don't want to say from birth, but like from as little as them knowing how to walk. And that's what organizations need to do. They need to really help the little girl get to that space up until she knows how to ride a bicycle and do great and bigger things on that bicycle.
And now this brings me to asking something that, you shared to say you sort of learned independence and freedom through cycling. How would you now elaborate it to our audience in terms of how does something not simple to those who can't cycle, but simple to those who can cycle, offer you so much in terms of give you that confidence, give you that freedom, and give you that sense of independence?
When Afrikaans people say die wind in my hare, it's exactly that. The feeling of having the wind smack you in the face, I kid you not, it feels like, something else. And I always say to my friend Lisa that we cycle with, and it's just like, what a wonder and what a blessing and what a thing to, to be alive and to feel the wind hit you in your face, but in all, areas of your face, you feel it on you. And it's really simple pleasures like that where you kind of really feel like, being on a bicycle, I am free, and I get why birds fly everywhere. They are free as well. And it's really just feeling the wind. And those are the things that has, really taught me and maybe understand what freedom is. And I think the biggest thing, independence and bravery of, being on that bicycle. Oh my goodness. And not being scared.
And just to close off our conversation, my question now to you is, if you could change one thing to make cycling more accessible and inclusive for women, what would it be? I know this is tricky because asking a woman to pack one thing or do one thing.
Okay, can I make it two?
Okay.
Please.
Because
Okay,
it's women's
I'll
month,
make,
you
I'll
make
make one. I'll start with the actual bicycle. There's so many times where I have to tell the girls that, I'm so sorry that this bicycle is going to hurt you. You're going to feel it while you're riding, but 2 days later, you're going to ask yourself, what was I doing? Because the seat, yes, we've got padding. Yes, where is covering. Yes, we can have all of those things, but it is so uncomfortable. And that is the one thing that I would love to change, how the bicycle has been constructed for a woman's body. That would be one. And I think the second thing, apart from space and potholes and everything, I think it really is, the right type of gear for all body types. And it is, that is the biggest barrier to entry, is the actual bicycle and what to wear when you're on the bicycle. And it would really be the gear that we get. I mean, some are fortunate to be a little smaller in body, but we do have, we're in South Africa, we've got very beautiful and voluptuous women. And you can imagine how, daunting it is for them to find anything like a tight that still makes them feel and look like, I can do this and I want to do this. And those would be the two things that I would love to change.
Karabo, this has been a very lovely conversation, and I'm praying that our viewers, really felt connected with Girls on Bikes and will be hitting up Girls on Bikes. And I believe on Instagram it is Girls on Bikes, and certainly look out at Ticket or Quicket. I believe it's Quicket, right?
Yes.
Quicket, to make sure you reserve yourself a ticket to make it to the ride and really experience it yourself. And Karabo, thank you so much for taking out the time and really joining us to shedding light to movements that are not just about learning a skill, but also creating a community, creating an opportunity for those to find, as you said, networks. Because you mentioned the interns who now were finding a doctor who wanted to take in interns, and somebody who built a website was now getting another client just by cycling or just by going with Girls on Bikes on a ride. But thank you once again, and it was a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me, and may you have a lovely day further.
Lovely day to you too. Listeners and viewers, that was Karabo Mashele, who is the founder of Girls on Bikes, moved by the instincts of empowering women one bicycle at a time. Now, if you're someone who would like to go on the rides, make sure you do check them out on Quicket and also follow them on Instagram. But for now, that's where we leave it and we head over to an ad break. When we come back, there's still more conversation with our lovely guest.